Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another great edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. It's got to be the best damn golf podcast going in the United States. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Very, very happy to have you with us watching today on whatever platform you are on. We've got a terrific show with a friend of mine who's absolutely awesome, and you'll see why when we bring him up in just a minute or two. Weather here in Las Vegas getting better. We were down in the upper 50s with a nice north wind. I mean, it was actually cold around here. So, people that are used to the heat don't want to go out and play golf here in that, me included. But the weekend looks good. Mid-70s, no wind. And so I'm going to get a chance to get out and play Saturday. I hope you get out and play as well. And the weather is good in your part of the country as well. I guess, as everybody knows, watching the tournament last week, I guess Rory is back at ranked world's #1. Very comfortable with it. He's always been a force, but I think he's going to be really a force going forward. But that's golf. You never know what's going to happen. So that's why you gotta keep working on your game and keep improving. And we have got the perfect guy for you today to do that. So let me tell you a little bit about our special guest, Brian Manzella. Brian has been a long time ranked for a long time as one of the top instructors in the country for both Golf Digest and Golf Magazine. He's a decades-long member of the PGA, and in 2013, Brian was voted the PGA Gulf States Section Teacher of the Year, and Brian has been instructing players for 4 decades, including tour professionals, elite amateurs, and really people that are coming to him that are new to the game. He's produced a number of instructional videos, has appeared on numerous instructional videos as well, and he has written several instructional articles, feature articles for both Golf Digest as well as Golf Magazine. And Brian does seminars, he does golf schools around the world and offers his instruction at a studio in the sky in Nolens. You'll notice I didn't say Newark. I was practicing our Nolens, Louisiana, and at English Turn Golf and Country Club. A fabulous, fabulous facility in New Orleans as well. I'm sorry, Nolens as well. So right now, without further ado, let's bring up my good friend, Mr. Brian Manzella is in the house. Did I do that okay? Nolens?
No, that's a tourist trap. So
oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a new picture back here in the studio in the sky. And but let's just say it wasn't a new picture. Let's say it was a new wall. Now you have the way to say it. Okay. New Orleans. That's how it's pretty much said by locals.
Okay, you're right. I fell into the tourist trap. Before
but
we go,
I think people like that though, because then we know you're a tourist. We can buy and beware.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, in my head full of useless information, isn't English Turn a Jack Nicklaus design, Brian?
Yes, it is. He designed it in probably 86 or 7. It opened in 88. Was host to what is now the Zurich, right? When it was not a team event. From 88 to Katrina, right? It moved the year before Katrina went to TPC, and then TPC had a bunch of tree damage. English Turn did, and went back to English Turn, and then back to TPC. And then back to the players, not the greatest. They liked English Turn. They're not the greatest fans of the other place, but they've tweaked it, and the team event makes it something that it'll be very interesting this year, right? Because it's not one of those, pushed up and get $20 million events. So, I'm sure the folks around here have a plan how to get a good field, and it's a good city to visit, for the other half in your life. So absolutely. I think we'll be okay, but it's going to be real interesting this year on the PGA Tour. I'm sure you'll agree to figure out how all of this is going to actually shake out.
Oh, a lot of things going on. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But let me ask you, Brian, do you think the average weekend amateur 20 plus handicap player should think about something like kinetics as to what it may or may not do to his or her golf swing?
Well, it's right up there with. I think most people realize, and if anybody listens to me today and goes, "I never heard of this guy," I'm gonna go search him. They might find like 30 different weight versions of Brian Manzella when I was fighting in different weight classifications.
Right.
I'm 177 right now, but there's some 227s out there, pictures of me, right? So everybody knows kind of calories in, calories out, right?
Yeah.
But somebody who's a real expert in that subject could give you like exactly why it's not just calories in. It's kind of like if you ate sweet tarts for 1,500 calories a day and you ate, I don't know, something like broccoli and had 1,500 calories, it's probably different 1,500 calories for some other reason.
Sure.
And it's the same thing in my business. When I go to the doctor, I want them to know why does my elbow hurt? Well, you got to tend, but really they could get as complicated to another doctor as they want. And all kinetics is how you move something. So if I take you and me and we get your golf cart out of the mud because it finally rained in Las Vegas for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And we get on the back of it, we're applying a force at the back of it and it makes it move that way. What video shows or 3D, if you put 3D markers and capture system on the cart, is that how the cart moved. Kinetics is what you did to move it.
Right.
The video in the 3D is how it moved, and then you got the end result is what it looked like to the people watching, standing there, and what it felt like to the golfer. So I don't think it's very important that a golfer would know, except for maybe force across the shaft, which I talk about a lot. People come here to the studio to take lessons, and they pose an impact position that would make Dustin Johnson and John Rahm blush.
Really?
And the one thing folks need to understand about having your hands way forward like those two guys is that they're swinging a 7-iron 100 miles an hour. So, the ball's taking off, you hear about launch angle. Okay, well, if I hit a shot from here to the monitor I have that y'all can't see right now, a little chip shot, it can launch on a 30-degree angle. It's only going to get, like 4 foot off the ground. But if it goes 400 yards in the air, like, a long driver hits it, well, it might be, 200 feet high. So you can't get your hands as far forward as a tour player does. Well, not all tour players, but those two in particular, if you don't have the club head speed to support it.
Right.
So basic kinetics explained in a way, when you're giving a golf lesson, if you started spouting off, you have too much negative beta force, God bless you.
Yeah. I only bring that up, Brian, because I know there are some instructors around that I know, some other top instructors, that make it a point to say that they are very much into kinesiology and all of that stuff. And they use that kind of as a selling point. And I'm thinking, well, the average guy who you'd walk down on the first tee on a Saturday morning and go, what's the launch angle on your driver? He's going to go, beats the hell out of me. I don't know. Why would he be interested in this? But like you say, and you explained it very well, it's all part of it. And it's what makes you do, what you do. Being a top,
I'll give you a quick example.
Okay.
The world foremost authority on the subject is my good friend and business partner Michael Jacobs.
Right.
Michael Jacobs teaches Patty Harrington. Patty Harrington has heard all of the mumbo jumbo because he wants it, right? Yeah. He wants it explained to him too. And Patty told me when I met him, this is the stuff that Sam Torrance's dad taught him 30 years ago. Right. So intuitively, Tommy Armour, not the third, sitting down with his mint julep, knew what kinetics. He just didn't know, the words, but they knew, right? Harry Vard knew how to hit a golf ball. Come on.
Oh yeah. He that very well did. Being a top instructor as you are, Brian, what's the most difficult part for you in teaching the golf swing to somebody, whether it's a man or a woman?
the most difficult part is you figured out the what, and now you have to implement it, and they can't do it. So just hear me out on this now. You have to figure out what it is you want to get somebody to do. Right? That might be brain-wise the hardest thing, yeah. But it's solvable. It's just like any riddle. You could send me the toughest riddle in the world and a genius could do in 5 seconds. I might need a week, but I'll solve it. So you solve the riddle of what Dennis needs to do with his swing.
Right.
Dennis doesn't do it. I tell Dennis to do it. Dennis still doesn't do it. Dennis sees it in 3D or sees it in video and still doesn't do it. Now I have to get you to do it. You're paying me to get you to do it. And that's the hardest part. It's also the most fun because then I get to learn a new way, maybe today, how to do it the next time somebody has the same issue you have. So I think a lot of people want to talk about, I mean, I read this on Facebook. We read the same stuff on Facebook. Oh, it's all of the information you give. It's how you get it. I'm thinking the information's nothing. Getting the person to do it, that's teaching, right? Other than that, it's just somebody says, hey, Brian, you have a broken arm and it's really bad. Okay, good. Now what do I do? Somebody's got to fix it. Some orthopedic surgeon's got to dig in there, put me to sleep, put it back together so I can still teach golf. That's the hard part, and it always will be, but it's I will promise you from the bottom of my heart, the most fun thing I do is struggle a little bit because some of the lessons I give, I could give in my sleep.
Yeah,
after 40
I'm sure. So you would agree with me that one of the ultra things that you have to be a top instructor is communication. Agreed or not?
If you can't, and it's not words necessarily. I've taught plenty of folks who did not speak English. Seminars, I've traveled the world. You could just grunt, that's what they didn't give. And they no. yeah, right, whatever. I mean, they'll get it. So now you got to get them to do it. And if you can't use language, you may have to pose them, you may have to show them, you may have to come up with some goofy drill or something else that they've done before that in a different sport that you can use. Right. So yeah, it's all about, I have something that I've figured out that I want you to know. Right. Now, how do I tell you to do it? And it is the most important skill to have in teaching any subject. No doubt about it.
Without a doubt. I totally agree. All right, let me ask you this before we step away and take our first break. Are you on board with the premise? A lot of things cause a bad golf swing, but are you on board with the premise when people say the biggest culprit in the golf swing is having tension? And if you are on board with that, how do you teach your people to get rid of tension?
I've seen it. I've been 40 years. Not even in the top 100 things that cause people to play bad golf. Not in the top 100. But let's just say the next cat that comes in this joint is 2 tenths, right? Well, you have to say, okay, I'll give you for instance of something I might tell somebody. Tense up as much as you can. Now get as loose as you can. Give me a number on a scale, just like grip tension, right? Yeah, same thing. Right. And I think some people get real tense because they don't know they can make a long enough swing. Right. Or they're trying to generate. Just think about around the green when people look the most tense. They're making a backswing for a 20-foot carry wedge shot, and they're trying to hit it 20 yards. Right. So that by definition, they have to grab something and tense up and try to make it go far. And at the end of the day, you could just swing the golf club back and forth, get one of those whippy shafted blue things, which are really good, by the way, because they have a club head on the end of them, and just practice motion. Ernest Jones, right? His only training aid was a pocket knife and a handkerchief, and he did all right. They was packing them in at the A.G. Spalding building, baby, all day long.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I know tension is a problem, obviously, and everybody who plays golf, including tour players, once in a while, feels tension.
Oh, depression now, that's a whole nother ball of wax, right? But if you're playing with your buddy and it's just a ha-ha round of golf. I play with guys I grew up playing ball with on other sports.
Right.
And they're all kind of different players, and we have a blast on the weekends on regular, ratty public golf courses. And I've never seen one of those guys hit a shot because they were too tense. So, I mean, it's one of those things where nervous is different than tense.
Right.
And nervous is tough too, right? Because otherwise everybody would play better in a tournament because you're jacked up. Yeah. You run faster. I remember I played in the Dome when I played football in high school, and the first guy I hit, I almost hurt myself. I had never played on artificial turf. And I was running just a little bit faster, and I went and unloaded on this little guy, running a sweep, and it was like, damn, like he didn't have anything to hit me with because I had the angle. So it's like the same thing. Like the first tee shot I ever hit in a tournament that I was in contention, I hit it like 20 yards further. I was like, whoa.
Whoa,
so some tension is good. I think you just have to learn to harness it. And by far, the number one problem in golf is open club face. I mean, people have too open a club face in their grip, on their backswing and halfway down, all that crazy stuff, spinning around, hanging back on their right leg. They're just trying to get the ball not to hit a house on the right.
Right, yeah, I agree, especially the one, you might live in. So anyway, Brian, stick around. We're going to take our short break here on the 19th Hole podcast for golfers, and when we come back, we'll have a lot more with the great Brian Manzella. We'll be right back after this.
Want to get stronger, more flexible, fit into your clothes more easily, or even hit your drives 15 yards longer? I've created a series of fast and effective programs that combine mobility, strength, and Pilates that you can do in your home or in a gym a few times a week to achieve your goals. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton, and I'm a certified online personal trainer with JT Fitness and Golf. I can help you get motivated and feel healthier in just a few weeks. Whether it's beating your buddies at golf, getting longer off the tee, or wearing that favorite dress again, I can help you reach your goals. Imagine being able to take a break from your busy day, walk into your workout space, and have an online personal trainer waiting for you. The variety of workouts will motivate you. Your training experience should not be mundane and boring. It should be something you look forward to and results driven. See the results and be the results. Let's connect today. You can email, text, or call, or set up an appointment through my calendar. What are you waiting for? Get JT Fit today.
Are you an E or a C?
Both have Ridgeback.
These are loaded with tech.
Which one are you gaming? Definitely E for me.
It's just so forgiving.
I'm definitely an E.
C is for Cheka. What else?
C is for kill it.
C is me. Low spinning bombs.
So, are you an E or a C?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to more of the 19th Hole podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a great conversation with Brian Manzella, one of the top teachers around in the country. And we're going to see each other at the PGA show in January, aren't we?
Yeah, I got to do the quick math. So 23, 85 was my first show, and I have not missed one.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
That one that was way down because of COVID, but they did it anyway. And it's the biggest day of the year for me is a walk in that I'm a gearhead, always have been.
Yeah.
And I love the business. I love all the what vestibule whispering that goes on.
Yeah.
And it's a tough game, you know. I mean, like people don't really understand the biggest difference between my business and the business. Let's say that Bernhard Langer I just saw in a commercial, right, running there. If he shoots the lowest score this week, he wins. If I teach better than anybody this week, I might move down on the vote in the list.
Yeah.
So there's two games you're playing and part of it, you have to go to all the events. I'll be at the Top 100 Summit it starts on the 13th of November at Talking Stick.
Nice.
In Scottsdale.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm going to be able to do there, which I'm very excited about, is my teacher, Ben Doyle, who passed away a few years ago, is getting put into the Golf Teachers Hall of Fame, and I'm going to, accept the award on his behalf, which he's certainly greatly responsible for wherever success I've had, for sure.
I had the pleasure of meeting Ben a couple of times and spending some time with him in Monterey, California, along with probably a friend of yours, Bobby Clampett, another golfing machine guy. What got you involved with that particular method of golf, Brian, number one? And I've talked to people who have tried to read that book, including me, and after like the first chapter, they go, dude, I ain't smart enough to follow this. This is complicated. So what got you involved in it?
The number one thing is it's a poorly written book. Okay, so let's just start with the fact that
okay. All right.
Homer Kelly, who wrote the book, who came up with the system, I don't know what he made in writing class, but it couldn't have been good. Right? Yeah. So, and the other thing is that he was constantly trying to put new stuff in the book. He did 6 editions, and he didn't want to make it more pages because it cost more money to print. So he was like taking things out that were in the 4th edition that explained something that's in the 5th. But I got involved with the golfing machine and Ben Doyle for the same reason we got involved with Stephen Nesbitt and science, golf swing science. Right. By 1987, I ran out of information from golf pros. It just ran out. I mean, I hadn't traveled very much, but it was obvious that somebody had to know more than what was being in the magazines and all this stuff. And I'd heard about the book, and I'd bought it 5 years before, and I thought I knew something about it. And I wanted to get authorized. They had a test you used to have to take. I'm sure they have something like that now. Right. And I went out to see Ben, and I think he saw some of himself in me. If I would have been 25, he was maybe closer to 40 when he decided to teach full time. And then at the end of the day, he was making sure I wasn't going to be the next guy to sell him down the river, which has happened to me too. Like everybody thinks, Mac O'Grady, he's kind of a weird cat. Yeah, but he's been ripped off a bunch, right?
Yeah,
so that'll make you weirder. And I think Ben was very trusting, and I tried to make sure that I, didn't betray his trust. Now, having said that, I found a ton of things in the golfing machine that aren't right. Because Homer Kelly knew what he knew because, there was available information back in the 60s when he started writing the book and up to 82 when he passed. And I don't think a regular golfer could buy the book and get too much out of it. But I think the golfing machine organization certainly wouldn't claim me anymore, because but the simple fact of the matter is that Homer Kelly was a smart guy, and his observational skills were very good. And one of those observational skills was, I think I'm going to walk in. The first golf pro I'm going to say I wrote this book, and I think you might be interested, is Ben Doyle. He knew of Ben's reputation as a teacher, and obviously was a first-class club pro at the Broadmoor in Seattle, which is still to this day a top-of-the-line joint. And there's good information in the book. Yeah. There's good information. I've got a bunch of books. I got wiped out in Katrina and bought a bunch more. I knew which ones not to buy. there's good in every golf book if you know what you're looking for.
That's a very, very good point. Yeah, and I think I got the flat left wrist out of the whole thing, but that's another thing. But let me ask you this, Brian, with players, and I'm sure you teach a bunch of them. People are busy, they're working, they're making a living, they got other hobbies, this and that and the other. They don't have time to really practice the way you'd like to see as their instructor. What do you tell them to at least keep in touch with their golf swing and golf clubs?
You have to be realistic as a teacher, because of what you just said is 100% correct. There's only so much time. So I give homework assignments, and I go okay, I think you ought to do this 90 seconds a week. Do it for 20 seconds 4 times and do it for 10 seconds the last time and then come back and see me. So I don't give that much homework. I know people don't. There's ball beaters now. You know them and I know them.
Oh, yeah.
Every golf course knows them too, right?
Yeah.
They tear up enough grass for 5 people. But the best student, not the best, David Thomas is by far the best golfer I ever taught, but the best student I ever had is a gentleman named Tom Bartlett, and Tom Bartlett almost got to the tour, made it through first stage of tour school twice without hitting balls. He just would watch his lessons on tape, and his lessons with Ben. He worked with Ben too, and he would get in his sunroom, which, if anybody's ever had a sunroom, it's like a dance studio at nighttime. All the light turns all the windows into mirrors, and he almost posed his way all the way to the PGA Tour. So what you need to get better is you need to know what it is that you don't do that you need to be doing. You don't need to know what you're doing wrong. You need to know, what do I need to do to make it better? Do I need my left wrist flatter at the top? Boy, that's uncomfortable. Okay, get a little short golf club like this thing right here, and every time you walk by your dressing mirror, go, oh yeah, it's cupped. Yeah, I better make it flat. Yeah. And in a week's time of picking it up when you go to the potty and look at your left wrist at the top of the swing, you'll have a little bit more, at least, idea of what it looks like and feels like, so that when you go to the golf course and play, because you don't have time to practice, you might pull it off.
Right. You're not going to feel so uncomfortable. That's a very good point. You're the perfect guy to ask for this, Mr. Manzella. Why does ball flight seem to be the be-all, end-all for so many instructors?
Well, they don't know what not. In other words, the ball's not lying, right? But in the middle of a lesson, you can't just be I'm not going to change one that's not going to make the ball flight worse. You got no chance to ever be a good teacher if you do that. Yeah. You gotta know you can get out now. You gotta know you can take an off ramp and turn around, take the slosh and exit like Johnny Carson used to talk about. But you have to know what it is that you're trying to get to, and sometimes even during a lesson, that you're going to make a long little road there. You're going to say these first couple balls might not get in the air, but we're just going to keep going with it. Because at the end of the day, that's the one thing that you can do in a golf lesson that you can't do if you just had it all written down or had a video and somebody was trying to do it on their own. Knowing when you actually did a whole bunch of stuff close to what you're trying to do and just about rolled the ball 30 yards. You might have been close. You need that person to say, hey, I was pretty close, do it again, right? Because if you're by yourself and you roll 130 yards and you're 6 handicap trying to get the scratch, you're bailing on whatever that idea is.
Right.
So it can't be but I learned a long time ago, whatever it is that you're trying to get somebody to do, because we're in the suggestion business now. You can't handcuff anybody, hypnotize anybody. You're telling somebody to do something, they don't have to do it.
Right.
If you can use the ball as sort of like your ally as a teacher and not your enemy, then it becomes a lot easier, because at the end of the day, the score is going to be mostly about the ball flight.
Well, yeah. But let me ask you this, though, before we take our next break. I know a lot of very good teachers, Brian, that work in indoor facilities like Golf Tech. I know everybody at Golf Tech and this and that, but I know a lot of good players too that are looking for some help, and they go, I'm not going to go there because they can't see ball flight. Sure, they may have something on a screen or something, but I need to be outside and actually see what the ball does. Is that a credible argument?
No, and I'll tell you why. And this is not my opinion. When I built this studio, 900 square foot studio, this is the little office portion in my drums over there. It's my first.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
So I thought 30% of my business one day. That's what I thought. It's 90. And that wasn't me. I wasn't pushing them to that. I like being outside, or I would have gotten a different business, right? You don't like being outside. But it's so much easier for the student to see everything right away.
Yeah.
4 video cameras, I got lights from everywhere. I got a camera overhead. I got a booty camera. I got everything. So the ball flight is very accurate indoors with TrackMan.
Yeah.
And but the golfers like it more. And why do they like it more? Well, sure, it's cool, but it would be cool and they went out and played terrible. They wouldn't be so cool anymore. But the success of the people who started taking lessons in the studio didn't want to go outside when I suggested, hey, let's go. No, I want to go back in the studio. So
interesting.
The last 2 times I worked with David Thomas for a whole day, right there.
Interesting.
It's when he's hitting it on the face, for crying out loud. If you just had a net, you could still do it, right? Like, that's something Homer Kelly thought. He wrote that, The Golfing Machine, talking about the golfing machine. He thought the into the net, no ball flight thing was pretty good, because then you could just work on the details. But we've got both in here. And I think the people who have a bad experience in indoor instruction, it's not the indoor, it's the instruction.
It's the instruction. Yeah, simulators are pretty good. They tell you more than really you want to know. Anyway, Brian, stay with us. We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show with Top 50 instructor Brian Manzella. Stay with us. We are back.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back, everybody, for wrapping up this portion of the 19th Hole podcast. I'm Dennis Overs, having a great conversation with my man, Brian Manzella. And Brian, I'm really curious as to your answer on this, because I've always found it fascinating. You have people that are new to the game. They take lessons, they practice, they start playing. And for some inexplicable reason, all of a sudden they become, for whatever reason, very proficient in hitting their irons better than their short game, better than their driver, or vice versa. They just become a chipping fool and they can't hit their iron shots worth a damn. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, let's talk about the irons versus the driver thing. So I did a golf school for Golf Digest about not quite a year ago, probably early this year. Seems like a long time, but so I told the guys from Golf Digest, Peter Maurice, one of the editors, I said, listen, Peter, if you don't mind tomorrow, I'm going to show off for you at some point, and I'm going to tell you when. When I do, I'll know when my, because I'm trying to do a good job, right? So we had about 10 minutes right before lunch. They were getting everything together. And I said, okay, I'm going to guarantee that we got 9 people in school. 7 of y'all are going to hit it 20 yards further in 3 balls with the driver. 8 out of 9. I did 8 out of 9. 3 balls. 3-ball lesson.
Wow.
Now, you've already given the lesson, right? They've done a whole morning of golf swing stuff, but it's basically all body position, ball position, and it's a different, even the robots, right? Even Ping Man, we went out to visit Ping 12 years ago. They dial up what Ping Man does.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to see Gene Parente's got that programmable robot. He's going to be at the Top 100 conference. It's not the same swing for a driver. You have to start basically releasing and getting your arms off your body sooner with the driver, whether you're a robot or not, because the balance point of the club is so much further away from your hands. You can't make the same swing, and you can't set up the same way. So you might accidentally have a setup that's really good for a driver, new golfer, playing for a year, and boy, you can hit that thing, but you can't hit down on an iron with that same setup, so you're rolling the ball with your irons. And the short game, really, some people, I find that if you get to somebody pretty early, good grip and a basic, this is what you're trying to do in the short game, they never get the short game yips.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
They were never bad. Same like putting. If you give a basic putting lesson early on to a golfer and they stick with it, they don't look like somebody, like trying to, play putt golf and never had a club in their hand before. That's the explanation. Yeah. It's not the same swing with a wedge around the green or whatever you're chipping with. I like chipping with a hybrid a lot when I want to hit it low. And I think more people ought to do that with an iron and with a driver. They're 3 different sets of things. Yeah. Even though there's a lot of similarities, it's not all the same. And that's what makes golf hard, right? Because I got a guy I teach that hits it pretty good. He's a 9. He hits it pretty good. He putts pretty good. He's a decent chipper. He's the worst bunker player in the world. And I've had to work. I've finally got the guy to hit decent bunker shots. It becomes like a phobia, but it's all technique. Yeah. And it's different technique. You don't hit a downhill lie bunker shot the same way you hit an uphill lie 7-iron shot.
Exactly. No, that's very, very good. No, you answered that very well. It's just different. By the way, please give my best to Gene when you see him. He's a good friend. Tell him I said hello. All right, we got a couple of minutes left, and I just want you to give briefly your impressions of the Live Tour. What's going on in Saudi Arabia?
So here's my analogy for you right here. I like to be analogies. These are my radar balls here that works in the studio, right? So this has been the golf business for as long as you and me have been around, Dennis. Yeah. And we've been around a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody came along and shook that box up a little bit and busted some sides open. I'm all for it. Yeah, I haven't really said much about it online, but something has to shake up this same old stuff all the time. Who cares about the commentary alone on a Friday, the Pool on Weed Eater Open in the middle of the fall in the wraparound series is so stupid. You and I, if they put us on that for one time, they would pay us $2 million each to never leave the studio.
Thank you very much.
What is the stuff these people even do? So you've got to, now all of a sudden, they're going to get some kind of coverage. I know they're on YouTube and all that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now there's announcer spots open that weren't open. And there's playing spots open. I got two of my best playing golfers or kids. One's 19 and one's 16. They're both going to play some tour someday. This is going to make it easier to get to that next level and get off the cruddy mini tours. So I'm not trying to get political with it, but let me just say this. They tried. They went to the tour. It's public record. They went to the tour and said, "We want to work with you." The tour rolled the dice, and now we're going to see what happens.
Exactly.
But I'm all for a little bit of something different in the overly staid golf business.
Right. No, I could not agree with you more. It's going to be interesting to see this, the way the litigation turns out. I'm good friends with the lead attorney that sued the tour for antitrust. And I talk to him fairly often, and a lot of interesting things are going to be coming up. Before I let you go, if somebody's down your way, they want to look you up, they want to get some help with their game, how do they get in touch with you?
So Brian Manzella or BrianManzella.com or BrianManzellaGolf.com on the internet, or Postmodern Golf on Facebook, or at Brian Manzella on all the Instagrams and the Twitters. I'm on Twitter a lot. I like Twitter. It makes a little more sense to me than the others. But when I do a video, I'll post it everywhere. But I work with every kind of player you can imagine. I've had 3 lessons already today and got one more. And literally from 1-year golfer to 40-year golfer in a single day, from low handicap to high.
Yeah,
so you have to do it if you want to do what I've been trying to do my whole career, which is get to the top. You can't get to the top just teaching tour players.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Anyway, real quickly, you're going to be in Scottsdale. You're a hop, skip, and a jump away from me in Vegas. Why don't you come on by for a day or two? We could tee it up. And I could take a few bucks from you.
I tell you what, that sounds like fun. I'm jammed up the whole time I'm there. I actually have 2 young students of mine. One's 9, one's 7. They're brothers that I've been working with online, Zoom, for 3 years. They've never met me in person. They're driving 8 hours. I hope I don't disappoint them. I'm just a little Italian guy from New Orleans.
No, I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you won't. Anyway, Brian, thank you so much for your time. Always great having you on. Always great information. I look forward to seeing you at the PGA show, and we'll have a couple of beers or whatever and hang out a little bit, and I'm looking forward to it.
Anytime, Dennis. You're a great pro. I love being on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Brian Manzella, everybody. Really good guy. All right, we're going to step away, take our last break. We're going to kick it off with Crunch Time with Carrie. We're back off right after this.
This is Crunch Time with Carrie. I am Carrie O'Rourke from Core Golf Fitness, in partnership with Dennis Silvers of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, where we show you how to improve your game by improving your body. The buzzword around TPI, the Titles Performance Institute, is upper body, lower body disassociation. Are you able to move your shoulders independently of your hips in order to provide a full rotation. Let's see here. First of all, I want you to hit a 5-iron posture. So pretend you're about to hit a 5-iron. Where would you be leaning over? And then go ahead and cross those arms. Now, while keeping your hips steady, just rotate through your upper body. This is how it should look. This is sometimes how it looks when you're unable to stabilize your lower body. Want to work on this? It's easy. Go ahead and find a wall, stick your backside up against the wall so that it is stabilized. Hit that 5-iron posture and now practice rotating here. This is forcing your lower body to stabilize and not move so that only your shoulders can rotate here. This will improve your upper body, lower body disassociation. Want to learn more? I would love to see you inside of one of my virtual 90-day programs, the Golf Flex Academy. You can find me at coregolffitness.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Core Golf Fitness and Carrie O'Rourke. Give that a try and let me know how it goes.
All right, welcome back, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the show. I want to thank Brian Manzella for coming on. He's a terrific guy, great teacher. I didn't know he played the drums, by the way, but living in New Orleans, hey, why not? Next week, we've got an absolutely fabulous show for you. And I'm sure if you're in the golf world at all, you know who David Ledbetter is, top instructor. Really an interesting guy, also great information, so make sure you check us out then. So until then, keep it in the short stuff. Hope you get a chance to get out and play some golf, and we'll see you back next week. So long, everybody.